ended up talking to Warner Brothers and Greg and where the show was going. And we really just kind of had a really honest, good chat where we sort of mutually agreed that Kate Kane and her story and everything, we had done what we set out to do.
Nerdrotic.com.
Well, we had a bit of a clown show yesterday, a bit of retardo versus retardo. And no, I'm not talking about the Netflix protest that had more members of the media than actual protesters that could have been confused with a cuties convention. I'm talking about Ruby Rose versus Warner Brothers, and it's glorious. It's not like the show has gotten any better since she left. The ratings are still in the toilet. The Rotten Tomatoes scores are still rock bottom. And the only people watching this are Az, Jay Longbone, and EFAP. Now, I never believed that it was a latex allergy that made Ruby Rose quit Batwoman, although there is a beautiful irony there, considering what her most famous line is from the show.
When it fits a woman.
Apparently, Ruby Rose needs some more work, so she decided to put out her resume yesterday, and this is how you do it, by Me Tooing a guy, calling out a giant billion-dollar corporation, and even Ray Fisher chimed in. It's no secret if you've ever worked in Hollywood for any amount of time that Warner Brothers can be a bit of a Gestapo as far as work environments are concerned. But it certainly seems to be a hot mess now, and this is a case of two sides to every story, and I believe both of them, and I'm rooting for neither of them. Ruby Rose eviscerates the CW, alleges mistreatment and unsafe conditions on the set of Batwoman. I wouldn't return for any amount of money, but please, if you're Disney or anybody else, hire me. According to the former Batwoman star, Ruby Rose, the narrative put forth in the media surrounding her departure from the live-action DC Comics adaptation has been a near-complete fabrication, as the actress has alleged that her exit from the show was not due to COVID or a latex allergy, but rather the CW's own mistreatment of their actors and neglect of on-set safety conditions, which we all know about. I could make a joke here about Ruby's time on the show lasting about as long as your average lesbian relationship, but I wouldn't make a joke like that. Rose revisited the topic of her exit from Batwoman on October 19th, declaring in an Instagram story, "Dear CW, Carolyn Dries, Sarah Sawitty, Greg Berlanti, et al., enough is enough. I'm going to tell the whole world what really happened on that set." Did her NDA expire? This sounds pretty serious. She sounds like the titular character that she used to portray. "I will come for you. So what happened to me never happens to another person again," she continued. "And so I can finally take back my life and the truth. Shame on you." I don't mean to be too hard on Ruby Rose. There is some truth to this, and she did get injured, but she also weighs 90 pounds soaking wet. She can get hurt getting out of bed. Moving to begin her takedown of the CW, Rose then took aim at now former Warner Brothers Television Group chairman Peter Roth, who stepped down from his position earlier this year. I wonder why. Not sure if you left after getting promoted to the highest position because you just couldn't stop making young women steam your pants. He made them steam his pants? Like literally? Or is that like a saying that I'm not aware of? Around your crotch while you were wearing said pants? Or if you left after putting a private investigator on me who you fired as the report didn't fit your narrative, wrote the actress. Either way, when it comes to you, there's an army waiting for you. Uh-oh, Peter. And she talks about her injuries on the set, I guess. On top of that, I have enough documentation to make an hour documentary, she added. Pray tell what else you would like me to share. The broken neck or the broken rib split in two. Ouch. And the tumor? Did Batwoman give you a tumor?
It's not a tumor.
Gave me a tumor. In her next entry into her Instagram story, Rose shared the video of her emergency Batwoman surgery and asserted to everyone who said I was too stiff on Batwoman, imagine going back to work 10 days after this. 10 days. To be fair, we were saying you were stiff long before your injury, but I'm glad you're recovered and I'm glad you're okay. Or the whole crew would be fired and I'd let everyone down because Peter Roth said he wouldn't recast and I just lost the studio millions by getting injured on his set. That sounds exactly like something you would hear from Hollywood, and it happens on sets every single day. Remember, these are the people who morally grandize, who tell us how we should live our lives, tell us how empathetic they are while they are treating each other other like crap. Remember, this is the same company that wouldn't associate itself with my friend Jeremy's channel, Geeks and Gamers, over a charity stream that raised $100,000 because of a few things Jeremy has said. Look what these people have done. Look at their behavior. Roth also apparently told Rose that she would be the one who cost so many people their jobs rather than entertaining the idea of spending half a day to rewrite me out of a few weeks to heal. A whole half a day spent to rewrite Ruby Rose out of a few weeks of episodes? That's actually surprising they spent that much time on it. No, you can't write the star of your show out of the show for a few weeks. You can delay the show, but you can't write them out. Although, would anybody really notice in Batwoman? So maybe she has a point. In a lengthy follow-up text post, Rose requested that her dear fans stop asking if I will return to that awful show. Even Batwoman thinks it's awful, as she declared that she wouldn't return for any amount of money, nor if a gun were to my head. Nor did I quit. Then she exclaimed, I do not quit. They ruined Kate Kane and they destroyed Batwoman. No, Batwoman would have to be built up to be destroyed. It was never anything that was established. It was always a disaster. Not me. I followed orders, and if I wanted to stay, I was going to have to sign my rights away. So Batwoman destroys Batwoman. Oh, that's a good title for a video. She next asserted any threats, any bullying tactics, or blackmail will not make me stand down, before further recalling a number of additional injuries which resulted from the CW's neglect on the set safety, including a crew member who got third-degree burns over his whole body, to which the rest of the staff was given no therapy after witnessing his skin fall off his face. Oh my God. While Rose was the only one who sent him flowers and cards. The loss of 2 stunt doubles and getting cut in the face so close to my eye in a stunt I could have been blind. A woman was left quadriplegic. We all know about that. And they tried to blame it on her for being on the phone. Oh, scum. But it gets worse, because I remember when that GoFundMe went up and I remember questioning why she needed a GoFundMe. So much so, CW didn't even help her to start with because they needed to investigate, so she had to do a GoFundMe, stated Rose. She's a PA. They work via phones. Well, it sounds like the CW is as awful as their shows. Ruby goes on to throw a lot of shade at showrunner Carolyn Dries, saying that accident wouldn't have happened if she would have shut it down for the coof, and it was the government that had to, and not that accident. Then she goes on to say Dries only visited the set 4 or 5 times, not that it would have helped. I think Carolyn Dries, the Batwoman showrunner, only showing up on the set 4 or 5 times is a net positive. Addressing rumors that she fought people on the set, Rose admitted that while these rumors were true, it was not because I wanted to, but because I wanted safety. Ask anyone in hair and makeup what I did for them after 2 were hospitalized. Hair and makeup got hospitalized? What the hell's going on over there? Now, I have reviewed this show, but I couldn't do entire seasons because I value my sanity. And in those reviews, I used to joke around that Doug Ray Scott, who I used to call Doug Ray Scott, looked absolutely miserable. And he probably still wishes he would have gotten that Wolverine role. And it looks like some of that was true. Apparently, Doug Ray Scott called her agent to find a way to leave, which she replied, break your neck, I guess. And then he went on to slam her in the press. All right, this thing is going way off the rails at this point, but there's more. I never raised my voice on the set. Never have. Yet Dougray hurt a female stunt double. He yelled like a little bitch at a woman. He was a nightmare, she continued. He left when he wanted, arrived when he wanted. He abused women, and in turn, as a lead of the show, I sent an email out asking for a no yelling policy. And to no one's surprise, the CW declined. So did Doug Ray Scott hurt women, or did he just yell at them? Because there is a giant difference. Now, Warner Brothers wasn't going to take this sitting down, and they fired back yesterday. Warner Brothers fires back, calls Ruby Rose's recent allegations of mistreatment on the set of Batwoman revisionist history. Ostensibly receiving word of Rose's posts shortly after they were published, Warner Brothers responded to her accusations on October 20th, issuing a statement to various other outlets asserting that the actress's words were a form of revisionist history. And here is Warner Brothers' salty statement. Despite the revisionist history that Ruby Rose is now sharing airing online aimed at the producers and cast and crew, the network, and the studio. The truth is that Warner Brothers Television had decided not to exercise its option to engage Ruby for a season 2 of Batwoman based on multiple complaints about workplace behavior that were extensively reviewed and handled privately out of respect to all concerned, said Warner Brothers. And of course, Ray Fisher couldn't miss another opportunity to take a swing at WB. Specific people were named, and WB's defense is to generalize Ruby Rose's account by making it seem like they're taking wild swings at everyone in every department. Now, I'm no expert on hit pieces, but I know a WB whistleblower special when I read it. As I said, this show is garbage. The ratings are still in the toilet. The Rotten Tomatoes scores are rock bottom, and still they make it. And the question has to be asked, why? Especially when people are actually getting hurt. Nobody should get a paper cut on garbage like this. I hope you enjoyed this little piece of Schadenfreude, and Warner Brothers, or at least the CW's Batwoman, looks like an awful place to work. And it looks like they hired a bunch of awful people. When you hire woke employees, this is what you get. Woke Hollywood will eventually eat itself, and we're starting to see that happen. So the next time you see an adult pretender come out with an impassioned plea to take responsibility or tell us how much they care about a cause or a community, just remember, they're all full of crap. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.
What happened? Why did you leave after one season?
I ended up talking to Warner Brothers and Greg and where the show was going, and we really just kind of had a really honest, good chat where we sort of mutually agreed that Kate Kane and her story and everything, we had done what we set out to do.
Jesus, fucking Christ, I could have sworn she was telling the truth. That's why they call it acting.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.